Well, there's little things I've come on to show today. I will say, as I was looking at these foxes today, as I was showing them to my therapist in a video, there were little things I came across and noticed, and I'd say there's probably just a thing or two that probably needs to be fixed on one. There's just a little extra chip hanging in there on one of them, kind of close to its legs, under its chin, under its neck, and just have to kind of get that little piece out of there. But I'd say as far as this goes, I think we've pretty much gotten these taken care of as much as they need to be. And I'd like to say that I've got some little tags over here, and this is something I will demonstrate to you all as far as how I do it. I've got to find the right ones. Sure enough, I've got them over here. You can kind of see that I've got my slogan on here, but I've got it on there very tiny, because these are just a very tiny set of tags that I made to go on the tinier projects where I could still be able to put my slogan on them just to share them. A lot of people love what it says on these things, where I put these little words on my little projects and share them around to people. I tell you, people kind of think the slogan says a lot. It's a lot of good philosophy where it says, I choose charity over bitterness. You're probably going to notice that when I get my Etsy store opened back up after the holidays, you will see on there that I put a little thing about the slogan on there, and the fact that the words, it's almost like I'd say a little takeoff of the Malcolm X quote, choose courage over fear. Probably said that a time or two in a video before, maybe more than one, but I just kind of work along the sides of this the best I can do. It all just goes to show that little work, character just makes things come out the better way. So what are we going to do now? What are we going to do now? I'd say that I will see if there's, well, honestly, we don't need to do that yet. I put it on the tails of these things, but I'm going to take this tablet over to my shop and show you all a little extra way that I do another part of the work. This is the part where, as you can see, where the little bit of work comes in with the wood burner. I'm getting a little unfocused here, getting things out of sync, but I say that with what we got over here, we can show a little more. And the wood burner is right here. You can't hardly see it because of how much is in the way here, but I'm going to show you all what I'm going to do. There is a special tip like this that you use for signing your name and your initials or the year. So on this one, it's more than likely that I'm probably going to go real small to write Purpleheart on here. It's probably going to require some little smaller letters than usual. Maybe a combination of both capital and small, where I usually will put all capital letters in to tell the wood here. But I think that this is a place where we might have to kind of do small letters, because there is so little room on here. And see, there's where I got it written, Purpleheart. And kind of had to divide the words between two lines there because there wasn't enough space to write the whole word straight across. But this is the way we're going to do it in this situation. I'd say for how cold it is and for the way it was talking with my therapist this afternoon, things have been kind of busy and going very well. I got the hang of this the best way I can. I'm going to kind of put a few little letters on here, put my initials and the year here on the back legs. So it's going to say J D P 2021. It's almost 2022, but still 2021 right now, so that's kind of what I'm going to currently write on these. J D P 2021. So as far as the little work goes, as far as it comes, looks like I left a water bottle out here last night, so I'm going to take a sip. Just got a little thirsty there as far as that goes. Just getting old, so I'm just starting to thirst more easily than I used to. So as far as this is going to come along, I'm going to take you all back to the corner where we're going to do the other part of the work we were about to do. And I'm about to give you all just a little demonstration of how it's going to be done. What we do here is where I put the slogan tag on the wood, take a little super glue and squirt the super glue gel over the little tag there and take it to the point where we kind of put a little extra work into it and kind of coat it over, try to make it so it's going to light shine and take itself and be a little place where it comes to the point that take it along like that. Work shall come and work shall go. But here I want to say that this is all good. This is how it goes. Taking care of the little matters the best way they need to be. And God Almighty is good. He's good to us many ways. This little time I pray, Father God, won't you be good to us? And He always is. Little do we know the time it shall take to work a project out. But this little piece of work is done for the good, for the better. It shines where we need it to the most. And what that little super glue coating does is it protects the tag so that when it kind of soaks in the oil, the glue will kind of protect the tag, hold it onto the wood and keep it from coming off, kind of make it a little more oil proof. So as far as what I've done here, come a long way with this. Kinda, I'd say, you know, brought it to a little shine and light. It's just that I've done a little extra work into these, and there's one little step I forgot to take, and I'd say that knowing the fact that it's not going to take this super glue too long to dry, we're going to go back to the shop and take care of that other step we forgot to do. And one thing I need to say about that is the little thing it's going to require. That is the Rotary Tool. And you see the tip that is already on this tool? This is the tip that I use to make the eyes into little projects like this. I've already put little pencil marks where I want the eyes to be, so we're gonna put those in now. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a struggle to get them to the right place, but once you get a hang of it, it works just fine. And from what I see here, apparently this Purpleheart was dense enough that, or slick enough or something, that it didn't do it too much harm. I'd say now we got the eyes into this one as well. There's the wood burner is still on here, so we need to turn it down and switch the button over to use the other pin that is hooked up to the other side here. And we're gonna turn it back up this time, and this one kind of has a skew tip on it. That is what you will use to make the nose and the mouth here. We will put the nose on just like this at the front, and we're going to put a little place down here to make the little mouth come up, and here it goes. I just kind of created the little mouth inside the foxy nose here, and try to put this little other one in too. Try to make it turn out thin and wide and make a shinier, better world, and lighten up the bright lights, and I'd say make the wood shine as much as it can. And that's how I came along on this one. I'd say that the tails are pretty much kind of dried off here. There's probably a step or two of this I'm going to have to take in away from the camera in a little bit, but I'd say that for what we got here, these are just about to be ready to be put into linseed oil and soaked. There's probably going to be a few other projects we're going to take care of before we take care of that, but while I'm at it, I'd like to do a little demonstration here of how it works with the bears, because I've got a couple of yoga pose bears here in the linseed oil in this old cottage cheese container, and we're gonna remove the lid These have probably been soaking about 5 days, and so it's about time for them to come out. I would probably say that, you know, you don't have to soak things for as long as I do, but I kind of like to give them extra time in the oil because I feel like the longer they can soak, the better they can turn out. So that's kind of how this little bit of work comes along. I'm taking care of little matters the best way I can, and I'd say we wrap it up in a paper towel and try to set it aside, let it do as it does, and whoa, it's all going to come out for the good, and take a little better ways to go about this stuff, because the work shall come and take its toll on us, and we shall all see a better, brighter light at the end of the tunnel, because it's how it comes along. It's how it does. Need to turn this off. So, as far as I see, once it's all wrapped up, you can kind of take it off and sort of like try to rub it down a little bit. Try to rub the oil down a little bit from where it is on the outside, and try to get it to the point where it might come out with a little bit more of a much better shine, and think it's getting to the point where that's about what this bear is doing. So I'd say there's probably a few little scratches on here. I'm gonna probably eventually get around to taking care of those little scratches, but I'd say that I like how I'm getting along on this, how it's all coming so far along, making its way down a little further and kind of showing us a much better light. I do believe I see over there a little jar that might be small enough to put the 2 foxes into, but we're going to shine it like this and shine it like that, make it come out so it's all easy said and done. Oh, to make it shine like the light all around us, you know. I say that there's a little thing we got over here, and apparently this jar is that I thought I saw. Well, I'd say it's probably not too short after all. It's an old relish jar, but I believe that we can open it up and we can fit these 2 foxes into it. I do believe the glue on the tag is dry enough. We can go ahead and do this. I will say there's probably a little, it might be a little too thin to fit both of them into, but we're gonna try to manage this so well, try to take care of little matters the best way they need to be. I say that this kind of work, do we know, do we have a little top to this jar? Well, as a matter of fact, we do, but I'd say that we don't know exactly how this is all going to come along. I'd say that apparently I picked a jar that was a little too thin. It wasn't too short, but it was too thin. Kind of coming the ways it needs to come. I say that we're probably kind of running out of containers here, since we just threw a bunch out recently just to kind of get things cleaned up down here. But among other things I have been using is this vitamin jar that I have here. It was like an old jar that was used for vitamin C. I would probably try to have a little bit more than just 2 pieces to go into a jar if it's even like this big, but turns out that's what we have right now. So I'm going to drop them in and I'm going to demonstrate how we do this. In this situation, we already have a big tub full of oil, so no need to pour out from the whole can. But thinking I'm going to try to demonstrate a little here, that I'm going to pour it from the tub into this vitamin jar, and I'd say that with the 2 little Purpleheart foxes, they got so heavy they sunk all the way down to the bottom, so we kind of got a little thing there. We take care of little matters like that. I say there's probably other little things we might need to kind of do a little bit here. I say somewhere around here, there's that little funnel that I've used. Oh, it's right here. But what we do is, I take the linseed oil jar and put the end of the funnel down into the top of that, and to store away this linseed oil, kind of pour it in just like this. Got to be careful because when it trades places with air, it might splash out on you like it kind of just did a little bit there. So kind of use little cautions like that. And indeed, I need to mention the fact that when you get done using a rag with linseed oil, you never leave it around, because if a rag or paper towel with linseed oil absorbs oxygen, all it has to do is absorb oxygen, and that will cause it to combust. There are just some types of chemicals I have which, in order for them to combust, something like a spark from a machine would have to hit it, and it might cause them to combust. But with linseed oil, you know, it doesn't have to be something like that. All it has to do is absorb oxygen, and that's how it will cause the rags or the towels to catch fire. Had it happen too many times before, and finally I learned a lesson from it, so I try to apply that now and keep it in my mind and keep it in my memory. Try to remember that always. All for the good, all for the better. Take care.